Hi, first graders. My name is Miss Sophia, and I'm one of the first grade teachers here at Cornell. I teach in room 22, and I will be teaching you about something called mindfulness every so often here on Zoom. Thumb up if you've ever heard of the word mindfulness before today. Okay, I know my class has. We've learned it a little bit. Um, so today we're going to do one lesson, and I want to talk to you a little bit about why we do mindfulness. So mindfulness is something that can help be a tool if we are having feelings like if we're ever angry or frustrated or sad or mad. Mindfulness can help us work with those uncomfortable or difficult feelings. Thumbs up if you've ever felt those feelings before. Mindfulness can also help us to stay focused on different tasks or things like playing sports. Thumbs up if you play sports or an instrument, okay, or doing classwork. Mindfulness can also help us even when we're feeling happy, it can help us feel happy or continue to feel positive or comfortable feelings. So in my classroom, we usually do mindfulness every day when we're here at Cornell. We do it after lunch, the lights are off when my first graders come in, and you can probably tell right now it's dark in here. I'm in the classroom. So I'd like to invite you, if you are in a quiet space, this will probably work best if you're in a quiet space. So if you're not in a quiet space right now, go find one, or you can continue watching this later once you have a quiet space. And I'd like for you to try and turn the lights off and join me sitting on the carpet. So I'll give you a second to do that. And when we're on the carpet, we're going to sit crisscross applesauce. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is talk about what a mindful body is. Can you give me a thumbs up if you've heard of a mindful body? So what I'd like for you to do is slouch over like this with your back curved, and then you're going to sit straight up tall, like there's an imaginary string pulling your body up high. Okay? You're going to relax your shoulders, so put them up, back, and down. And you're crisscross with your hands, clasp them together. Clasped, they can be in your lap or they can be sitting on your knees. So if you look at the way I am sitting, I'm crisscross on the carpet. You can have your hands on your knees like this, just resting gently, or you can have them even turned up if that feels good to you. Mindful bodies are also very still and very quiet. So sit up tall, quiet. You can even close your eyes for a second and notice how it feels. This might feel good to you. It might feel a little uncomfortable because you're not used to sitting up so tall and straight, but this is what's best for practicing mindfulness. If you're in a chair, your back can be straight. If your feet touch the floor, that's good too. Okay? So a really important mindfulness tool that we use is something like this. Thumbs up if you have one of these at home or if you've seen one before. This is called a Tibetan singing bowl. It's a bowl that looks like this, and it sits on top of a cushion. It's like its little home, little couch, and we ring it like this. So the first thing we're going to learn about today, and it does get louder, that was just to show you that it makes a sound, we are going to learn how to be mindful of listening. We are going to learn how to be mindful of so many things this year, but the first one will be listening. And what we need to know how to do to practice mindfulness is how to be in a mindful body, which you just learned. So go ahead, get your mindful bodies on, tall and straight. Okay. To introduce mindfulness of sound or mindful listening, I'm going to ring this bell for you one time. Your challenge today is when you think the sound of the bell ends, you're going to put a thumb up by your heart. Okay, and I'm going to do this with you. What I want you to pay attention to is how you felt before you started mindfulness today, and then maybe how you're going to feel at the end when you're done listening to the sound of the bell. Okay? So, when I say to put your mindful bodies on, you're going to sit crisscross, up tall and straight with your shoulders back. And I invite you to close your eyes. You don't have to if it doesn't feel good to you. You can close them, or you can just look down where your feet are crossing, but still keeping your head straight. So you're kind of looking down like this. But I'm going to close my eyes because it feels good to me. It relaxes me a little bit more. All right, so please put on a mindful body. I invite you to close your eyes, or look down. And when the sound of the bell ends, put a thumb up by your heart. Here we go. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thumbs up if you heard the sound of the bell end. Okay, so that's an introduction to mindfulness. You learned what a mindful body is and also how to be mindful of sound with the Tibetan singing bowl. And next week, we're going to learn a little bit more about mindful breathing, okay? Today, you are going to get out your Mindful Schools workbook, okay? Mindful Schools is actually the school that I went to learn about mindfulness as an adult. So even as adults, we're always still learning new things. So you have your Mindful Schools workbook. You're going to do this in a little bit. You don't have to get it out right now. You're going to write your name where it says, this workbook belongs to, I wrote Sophia. And then grade, you're going to write 1, or you could write first grade. You can explore your book today, but I'm going to ask that you only do the pages that we tell you to do. So you've got table of contents. These pages are mindfulness lessons and challenges, and these pages are all games and fun. These you can look at and do on your own if that feels good to you. Today we're going to be working on page 1, which is our mindful bodies page. So it says draw a picture of not a mindful body and a mindful body. And it might be tricky for you to draw yourself sitting crisscross applesauce. Just do your best. So for not a mindful body, I kind of sketched a little bit with my class before. You might draw yourself saying something, drawing lines because you're wiggling and you're moving. And then for a mindful body, you would draw yourself how? Sitting still, sitting tall, not talking. Down below it says, how do we sit when we are in our mindful bodies? And it has room for 6 ideas. I'd like for you to do at least 4, so 4 or more. So how do we sit when we are in our mindful bodies? You could write crisscross applesauce. You could write tall. You could write quietly. And then at the bottom there's a challenge. If you get sleepy in class or in Zoom, try getting into your mindful body and notice if this gives you more energy. So I'm going to ask that you complete this page using color in these squares, using your best handwriting and spelling. Just be a brave speller. It's okay if you're not spelling these words correctly. And then that is going to be it for our first lesson. And I'd like to encourage you to do mindfulness. Try the mindful bodies and mindful listening during the next week or so. And I will see you for mindfulness with Miss Sophia next week. Bye, first graders.